The Committee on Science, Space, and Technology will come to order. Without objection, the Chair is authorized to declare recesses of the committee at any time. Welcome to today's hearing entitled Pitfalls of Unilateral Negotiations at the Paris Climate Change Conference. I'll recognize myself for an opening statement and then the ranking member. The Obama administration's new electricity regulations will increase the control of the Federal Government over the lives of Americans and will burden American families. President Obama intends to submit these costly new requirements as the cornerstone of his proposal at the Paris UN Climate Conference. These severe measures will adversely affect our economy and have no significant impact on climate change. The President has pledged that the United States will cut its greenhouse gas emissions by as much as 28% over the next decade and by 80% or more by 2050. The pledge was made in preparation for the UN meeting now underway in Paris, which seeks to produce an international agreement that would impose legally binding requirements on the United States for decades to come. However, the committee learned from last month's hearing that the cornerstone of this administration's climate pledge reduction, the so-called Clean Power Plan, will do nothing to meet the President's pledge. Moreover, this regulation will cost billions of dollars, cause financial hardship for American families, and diminish the competitiveness of American employers, all with no significant benefit to climate change. In other words, it's all pain and no gain. It is well documented that the EPA's power plan will shut down power plants across the country, increase electricity prices, and cost thousands of Americans their jobs. The U.S. pledge to the UN is estimated to prevent only 1/50th of 1 degree Celsius temperature rise over the next 85 years. Incredible. This would be laughable if it weren't for the tremendous cost it imposes on the American people. EPA's own data shows that this regulation would reduce sea level rise by only 1/100th of an inch, the thickness of 3 sheets of paper. The President's power plan is nothing more than a power grab. It disregards the opposition of the majority in Congress and the governors of most states. The President attempts to justify his actions by scaring people with worst-case scenarios and biased data. An example of how this administration promotes its suspect climate agenda can be seen at the National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. Its employees altered historical climate data to get politically correct results in an attempt to disprove the 18-year lack of global temperature increases. NOAA further perpetrates this administration's agenda by dismissing accurate and calibrated satellite data. This data, considered by many to be the most objective, has clearly showed no warming for the past 2 decades. So NOAA and this administration simply chose to ignore the satellite data in its recent report. NOAA conveniently issued its news release promoting this report just as the Obama administration was about to announce its extensive climate change regulations. When the Science Committee raised concerns about NOAA's report, the agency refused to explain its findings and provide documents to the committee. The American people have a right to see the data and know the motivations behind the study. The American people should be suspicious of this administration when it continually impedes congressional oversight of its extreme climate agenda. Furthermore, statements by President Obama and others that attempt to link extreme weather events to climate change are completely unfounded. The lack of evidence is clear. No increased tornadoes, no increased hurricanes, no increased droughts or floods. The administration's claims are contradicted by the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change itself. For instance, the IPCC found that there is, quote, low confidence on a global scale, end quote, that drought has increased in intensity or duration. The same lack of evidence can be found in the IPCC reports for almost every type of extreme weather. The administration's alarmism and exaggeration is not good science and intentionally misleads the American people. Congress has repeatedly rejected the President's extreme climate agenda, so the administration instead attempts to create laws on its own and to twist environmental regulations in ways Congress never intended. Now the administration has packaged up all these regulations and promised their implementation to the UN. The President's pledge to the UN would increase electricity costs, ration energy, and slow economic growth. The President's plan ignores good science and only seeks to advance a partisan political agenda. The President should come back to Congress with any agreement that is made in Paris. He won't, because he knows the Senate will not ratify it. Today's hearing will demonstrate that the President's UN climate pledge is destructive to the American economy and would produce no substantive environmental benefits. That concludes my opening statement, and the ranking member, the gentlewoman from